Welcome back, Mr. Goodberry. The First Star Logistics studio is fully equipped and ready to record.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Bengals on the Brain, presented by First Star Logistics. I'm your host, Joe Goodberry. We have finished our film review series looking over all the Bengals draft picks, right? So if you're interested, and we may, if someone says, hey, I'd really like to watch Cassius Howell versus this guy, we can go back and watch. It's fine. We can do that. That's a good summer, especially June, as we're just about to start June here. It's a good summer project to go through and watch, but we could also start watching some of these other guys that I really like. But if you need to go back and watch Tacario Davis or Connor Lew or Brian Parker or Jack Endries, head on over to the First Star Logistics YouTube page. Go down, look through the videos. They're all there available. They don't expire. You watch them when you want to watch them. But I'm not done with rookie film reviews. We got a couple more episodes of some guys that I think of the undrafted class could make the team. And the first one up is going to be Eric Gentry, the very weird looking linebacker from USC. And I mean that in a positive way, although he's probably heard that his entire life. But he's nearly 6'6", 6 and some change, really. 6'6", he's barely 220 at linebacker. It's very weird. He looks like, I don't even want to say a wide receiver because you normally don't see receivers that tall. He's got tight end, defensive end length at big wide receiver size, small linebacker size. Very weird build. And how that affects him will be seen on tape. But there are some advantages to that. And the guy I think of, and I've said this before on Twitter, if you're not following me on Twitter, at Joe Goodberry, if you're looking for some Bengals content in the offseason, consider subscribing as well. We got a lot of extra content over there. But people ask me, give me an example of a guy that looked like this or played, and there was one for the Bengals. And I said this on Dan Hord's show today. It would be earlier today if you're looking for a podcast to listen to where we talk about everything, Dan Hord and I. Go check that out. But I said he reminded me of Emmanuel Lemur. If you remember him, he was an undrafted linebacker that did some safety slot stuff for them. He'd come in and cover tight ends and be a nickel linebacker. He developed into that and became a solid player. And he had to start a playoff game. He started a little bit throughout the season. Mostly a depth guy, role player, special teamer. And they say Eric Gentry is a great character person at USC, and they raved about him. He just never added that weight. He just never got bigger and stronger. So I've got clips cut up, specific clips, because I want to show you his upside, some of his weaknesses and downside. And then at the Shrine Bowl, he had like 4 pass breakups at the Shrine Bowl practices. And I think it shows you what he could do and where he's at mentally in coverage. I think he can handle it. And the Bengals, listen, they did not add a linebacker. Free agency, we talked about linebacker, how much? Till we were blue in the face. And then we go in the draft, like their biggest need is a linebacker, so give them one at 41, give them one in round 2. We talked about linebacker so much. And that doesn't mean they didn't want to upgrade linebacker. They did, based on everything I know, go after linebackers. Just, obviously you didn't want them, you weren't hungry enough to get that money over the line to get these guys signed, or they weren't ranked high enough on your board to draft them. So, can Eric Gentry make this roster? I do think he can. We'll get to that part more after the film. Just wanted to set it up. This isn't completely a undrafted shot in the dark. Those guys can surprise us. Braylon Lux last year, I watched the film and I said, oh, he's good. But before I didn't know who he was. So are we going to get that with Jamal Haynes, Jack Dingle? I'm looking at the undrafted list here. Josh Caddis. There are a couple guys here. Isaiah Wokobia, the safety, SMU. He's got a shot, a legit shot. Sierra Wright's got a shot. Could Noah Thomas, Kentrell Bullock, maybe. And then the Christian Jones, the lineman, the massive 6'9" lineman that they brought in, who's 26. So maybe that's, but they give him a huge signing bonus. Maybe that just might be an undrafted lineman needed to be paid because I believe the other one, Corey Robinson, the other lineman they brought in got a decent signing bonus as well. So there are a couple guys here. I'm probably going to go over maybe 3. Today's Gentry, though, and then tomorrow will be, next episode will be 2 guys. I think we want to spend the most time on Gentry because they didn't do anything at linebacker. So that gives them the best shot. So I went a little long here on the intro, 5 minutes. Let's dive into the film. 6'6.5", 221 is what he was listed at the combine, which is very weird. Eric Gentry is number 18. You can see it right away. Like, look at his legs. They are, I mean, here's a safety right here. Similar legs as a safety. Probably fair at 220. He's bigger than a safety, but the length offsets that. At 6'7", he should probably be 255 pounds at least. I remember when Michael Johnson was 6'7", and they played him at linebacker the first year. This has always been a thing in Cincinnati. So listing Antoine Paul Ryland at linebacker does not affect me. Listing Carl Lawson at linebacker does not affect me because they've done it forever. But Michael Johnson was 6'7", 238 that first year because he was in the Hard Knocks, and they showed it listed on the board. I believe on accident, but he was. And he ended up getting the 270 or whatever it was. But you should be probably 15 pounds at least heavier than this. And you'd still be underweight. So let's watch Eric Gentry right away here as you see that blitz pickup? It looked good, and he just floated around this guy. Let's go in slow motion, and look how he displaces his hips. I mean, he jumps from this spot here and gets around. That's good athleticism, especially for guys that are long and leggy. When you're the slender man, it's tough to get those legs bent and do what you got to do. And that drawing almost got, let's not draw slender man. Let's move on. But you got Gentry here getting off that. And then look at the closing speed, able to wrap his long arms around and get to the quarterback and bring him down for a sack. So you'll see a lot of blitzes from him. I think they liked him coming forward rather than dropping back into coverage, which is a big hurdle for what I'm talking about in making him a cover linebacker. But you can see he's communicating here, talking. I think he understands. You see him pointing? Did you see that? I'm going to go back. Okay. So I think he knows what the run play is here. Watch him point here after communicating with everyone else. Watch him point that way, that way, that way. So what's his first step? That way. And it's supposed to be a wide zone. So everyone's blocking one to the right. So they got him. He's got him. And this guy, this right guard, it looks like, tries to get to Gentry, but he can't. Gentry slips him. And as long as you know what play is coming, you can do this. And look at him just dip his shoulder around. The arms did not affect him. He just went right through it. Now get him on the other side. He's blitzing again here. Look at him hitting that ball from the backside, huh? You're unblocked, so it's not like he's beating a guy. Some people said they should make him a pass rusher. Yeah, maybe. But that's a lot more weight. Pass rushers need to be 255 at least. Linebackers, you can be 235 at this height, I think. But yeah, good job hitting that ball, making that uncatchable or not even a forward pass. Barely. Here he is on the left side. Reading, sees it's a QB draw, and he just takes off, right? Look, we got a QB draw. He's seeing it. Okay, as long as those guys on the left side didn't keep this ball here and get handed on the jet sweep, what did he do? He said, okay, you take it, and the quarterback's taking it, and I will just flow over the top and run with him. And when he gets full speed here is what's really impressive as he chases down this quarterback. Let's hit the play. There it goes. And does his job. All right, next play here. Let's play it here. Gentry's going to come in motion, come across. He's going to read this run again, going inside zone. It looks like everything's locked up in there. He just flows to the play, fills the gap, makes the tackle. He's going to come downhill on this one, shoot the A gap, make a tackle from the backside. So you're seeing the athleticism, you're seeing the mental processing for him. All look really good, right? Or at least standard for what you'd want for a linebacker. Here he is. At first, reading the pass because it's a draw play. His first steps are not exactly backwards, but he turns his hip because he's respecting it, but he can tell this is going to be a run play. So he attacks down here. You can kind of see the way he hits, too, that he is thin. As watch the contact with the running back. His head almost snaps back. He's the one taking the brunt of that force. Again here, reading, flowing with the play. Now he gets to go be an athlete and show off his speed. Looks pretty good. Dropping into coverage here. We've got a check down on a cover two. Cover two is what? Attack the middle of the field or check it down. Either you're attacking right here, or you're checking it down. And they got two guys checking down here, curling in front of the linebackers, so there's not a lot going on. And Gentry knows that, so he's firing very quickly, getting in front, and hoping to deflect that pass. Getting to the screen, this tight end screen, getting to him maybe a little bit early, but they don't call that. I don't believe that's a penalty, so don't worry about it. But doing a good job of getting there and deflecting the ball. Again, seeing the power run going his direction, right? Because we're pulling linemen towards him. So as he comes sifting down to fill this outside gap because the end crashes inside, he's got the guard pulling this way. And the guard would like to seal him off and allow the running back to go all the way outside. And Gentry kind of just hesitates, hides, and then dips through. Never lets that guard that's pulling get to him. And he's the one making the contact with the running back. Kind of a drag down tackler. He's not a hammer, right? He's dropping into coverage, seeing the quarterback's running. Even the quarterback tried to give him a no look. But I like the punch here at the ball, too. Again, just sifting through the trash, making a play. When he's clean and kept clean, he's good. When the linemen get on him, here's one of the better examples of him being good when linemen get on him. But the play is going this side. If it was going this way like they initially faked, the quarterback's going to go this way too. If you would have got Gentry on this side, the lineman could have walled him off. But because Gentry's on this side and the run's going this way, he's going to be able to see it, take off, and flow with the play here because it's play side. And a little wrap-up tackle again. Middle of the defense. Defeating a block of a wide receiver, right? Let's go back. I want to see that. Again, he can beat a tight end. He can beat a receiver. He does take it at a finesse angle, even though he's very physical with it. Meaning he wants to get to the outside if he can. Covering a wheel route here. I like that a lot. Incomplete pass. Showing a little bit of hip fluidity. Here he is blitzing. Coming around, looping around, back to the middle, dragging the quarterback down. Watch how he follows the receiver, right? The receiver's going for a swing pass, and Gentry's going to get blocked by this tight end, I believe. Watch him get physical with this tight end at the point of attack here. He's taking him on. He knows he's got to come down and get to that receiver, throws him down, and makes a nice, got some power there on that tackle. Taking on the block, but again, he's play side, so he can do that. It's kind of when it goes the other way is when he struggles. What I mean is if he was on the inside here, he'd probably struggle to get off this. But when he's on the outside, he does a good job. Disengaging, getting to the outside, misses the tackle. Here's that screen. Just want to give you another look of how quickly he was getting to it and coming back to make a pass breakup. Now on this play, quarterback threw it to the receiver. The receiver's going to throw it back to the quarterback. Remember Andy Dalton scored versus the Titans on this. Was that 2015? 14. Anyway, we'll go back to Gentry here. And what's he doing? He's staying with that quarterback the whole way and actually goes and high points it. That's why he's not playing receiver, though. That play right there. He looks a little finesse here as he's coming up with his hands. Maybe it's because they're so long. But as he comes in for the tackle, you'll see... Hang on. Let me play. There it goes. Kind of almost fell off that guy there. Good job here staying clean, getting to the hole. These aren't the best competition games, but we want to see what it looks like when everything looks good for him. See the fluidity, right? The movement. He looks really good as an athlete. Covering a lot of ground, a lot of space. I mean, he's reading that. Look how quickly he's reading all that. There's a lot of trash and traffic in front of him. And he's chasing down the quarterback. Coming down, staying with the tight end who's trying to leak out, flips his hips, comes back and gets the quarterback. Now we go against Notre Dame. And I think Notre Dame was his worst game. And I didn't have the film, but I had, some footage clips. So if we get flagged, it'll be because of these three plays here. But we got a swing pass here to Jadarian Price. And we need Gentry to handle the outside here. We've got someone coming in, right? So don't get faked inside at all. And Price hits him with the outside stab real hard because Gentry has to defend the outside. That's his job. So when he falls for it, I'm not as critical of him because that's his job. He needs the other guy from the inside to make this play. And they both kind of miss. Probably slow him up a little bit, but not ideal for what we're looking for. All right, here's Gentry. He's on a block this time. He is walled off pretty good this way, but the play is going outside, right? So he's going to get to the outside. And when he does, right there, the running back's going to cut it back inside. So the running back is really just trying to bait him out there, give him a better position for 76, and then he's going to cut it up this way. So now Gentry's struggling. That contact was made at the line of scrimmage, and now we're 3, 4, 5 yards down the field trying to get off that block. Same thing versus Oregon here. Little hesitation here. He's not sure who has the ball. He's thinking maybe we've got a leak here, tight end leak. And then when he sees what's happening, he comes back that way, overcuts it, can't flip his hips, and it's a touchdown. Here's a good play of him in coverage, though. Let me go back. I want the circle to stay on him while I talk. You can see he's pointing out what the coverage is, or who's got who. He's got the, I think he's telling this guy here that you've got one. You've got the running back, then the running back's going that way, which is accurate, and that is what happens. So as he drops back into coverage, a little bit of confusion here, right? This guy's on this one. Does he end up going this way? Very weird. I can't tell what's happening. But Gentry flips his hips, hits the brakes, comes back, and pretty much gets a one-handed grab, one-handed interception on the curl route against Cal. So, yeah, you see him? He is long and thin. All right, so here we get to the Shrine Bowl. We're going to see some really good coverage, one-on-one. I really like the way he plants his foot. He almost flips his hips and opens up because he's got to protect the inside. First rule for these linebackers is you don't want to get beat across your face. So these guys are trying to see if they can get past you. But, I mean, everyone knows the coaches are telling them, stay shaded inside. You've got help to the outside. You make the harder throw to the outside rather than the quarterback just dunking it right over in front of you. So stay to the inside. And as you watch, Gentry almost goes for it, but good recovery. Look at that length, man. Getting a hand on that ball. Same thing here. That guy tries to get him on the outside and cut back in. So different. Don't go too far outside. Flip those legs. I mean, he got pretty low. We're talking about a guy who's 6'7", able to flip and his hips and get pretty low on that. I want to go back even further if I can. Watch his feet here. Watch how low he gets when he has to cut. Almost looks like he blows his leg out because he's so long, but no, he's able to bend and get out of that. And then good job of touching the receiver, getting to the inside, using your long arm to make a play on the ball. A couple more plays here from team drills. Look at him get in the face of the quarterback. And what's fun about this is he's reading a run, right? Because the run, we got a potential zone run. Excuse the glare here. Grabbed this from a writer that was at the Shrine Bowl, and he was recording off a screen. But the run action's going this way. So that's why Gentry takes this path, which should, and you got these guys going this way, open up a window, ideally for the quarterback to hit right there. So that's where the quarterback's eyes are here, that he's trying to hit this window coming across, and Gentry jumps right in front of it, like just feeling it, having a good feel for what the offense is doing, trying to attack him, how they're trying to attack him, and he gets in that window. Now, very similar play here again. Play action. Takes on the running back. Hits him. I thought he was going to take the fullback. The fullback tried to dive around him, and now the fullback is leaking out this way, right? So the fullback went around him, is going this way. We also have a drag route coming behind, a crosser, I should say. But Gentry takes on 34, really strong right here. I want to show that because we don't get too many clips of him taking on a fullback. So here we go. What it would look like, good power, but then look at his eyes. Look at him say, whoa, this is a play action. Get in the quarterback's vision, get in front of it, get a hand up, because this guy, if that's accurate, that's enough separation on this play. Ball should have went here because the guy's wide open. But Gentry does a good job getting up and making a play on it here. And then one final play, I believe. Again, we've got play action all going this way, right? The blocking's all going that way. And the running back's going this way. Quarterback's going to naked boot that way with someone. This guy's going to come out and help block. But it's meant to get the entire defense to flow this way, especially second level. And then when you make it so blatantly obvious, a lot of times these guys will say, oh, I got to get back this way. And they'll loop over and they'll get back as hard as they can. They'll run full speed. They'll take their eyes off the quarterback in order to get to the position they need to get to. But watch Gentry here. As he was about to, you see both guys at the same time, they kind of flipped and turned this way, right? They're like, oh, let's get there. Even him. Look, everyone's like, let's get back. Because, I mean, these receivers are all just streaking down the field at this point. The idea is actually for a tight end wheel route. He's going to come this way, and he's going to come up. And if you get this guy to chase, especially versus man coverage, and they forget about the tight end, this guy would take the tight end if he forgets about him. This tight end can run free. So Gentry's going to notice this now. You see his leg already starting to plant. He sees that tight end leaking. And he's like, let me stop. Let me make sure I know what's going on here. Flip my hips and run with him. And the quarterback sees that and takes off. And now there is pressure in his face. But I do think this is a really good job of picking up the guy for a play where they are trying to get you to overcommit. And if you overcommit, this could be a big play. I think the Bengals have been beaten on this. I'm failing to remember which play that was, but I do believe they have. And Gentry did a good job of picking that up. So Eric Gentry scored our 14th highest linebacker score in our draft spreadsheet, which, isn't crazy. It's not like I'm saying he was 9th or 8th or 7th. Anything like that would be like significant. But a draftable grade or score at 72.9, which is respectable. If he'd have went in the 6th or 7th round, I'd have said, sure, of course, that makes sense. He's worth taking a shot on. Does he struggle with physicality? He does. Does he look like he's a wrap-up type tackler that maybe can't, like Derrick Henry, man, is going to run through his face? But could he add weight? Sure. Has he? He has not. So, it's a bit of a projection. But the reason he goes undrafted and why it's okay to take a shot on him then is because that's where you get role players. Like a special teamer that's that size, great. Sounds good. I bet Darren Simmons can figure out how to use a guy like that. But could he carve out a role in the defense? Could he carve out, and I'm talking about in the future years, it's rare for a rookie to have to actually play, even though Emmanuel Lemur, I believe, did play as a rookie. But could he in year 2, 3, 4 become the type of a nickel cover linebacker? Could he end up 230 pounds plus? Maybe. But just looking at his data, his market share adjusted production. So looking at production here, 94th percentile. He was a very productive player. For all of his issues, he got to tackles at a high rate. He got to tackles for a loss at a high rate. He had sacks. He had forced fumbles. He got his hands on the ball in coverage when he was out there. So he was very, very, very productive. If we try to say these unique players can't be productive at the NFL level, which is what we do a lot and teams do a lot, sometimes what's the truth is they weren't really productive in college either. Gentry was, and he had the production. His athleticism, his relative athletic score puts him in the 77th percentile, so I do think you'll see some of the lower body explosiveness isn't there. He could gain a lot of strength there. He can gain a lot of strength overall, and I think that would help him be a more explosive and fine-tuned athlete, and maybe there's some room for him to grow there. But looking at PFF data over on the side here in my other monitor, he never really graded well for PFF. He was in the 52nd percentile for his defensive grade. His coverage was in the 54th percentile. It's not what you want. Passer rating while in coverage was in the 31st percentile. So nothing really, really good here until you get to like his forced incompletions. Had a lot of forced incompletions in coverage. 79th percentile. Ball hawk rate, 77th percentile. Man coverage grade, 85th percentile. So again, when I say I think he could be a gadget type role cover guy, maybe he could be the Trey Flowers. Maybe he can just come in and cover tight ends. It'd be different, but the data says he was really good in coverage. Zone was okay. And overall, though, when I get to, I'm looking for his production for a pass rusher. Solid pass rusher as well. Most of it in the 75th or 76th percentile for hits on the quarterback and pressures. So he can help you. And he only had one penalty in his career. One penalty puts him in the 95th percentile. It doesn't say he's going to be a good player, the data. It says he can probably stick on a roster for 4 years. And if you're getting that as an undrafted free agent, I don't think anyone is too mad about it. And looking at this linebacker room, a A lot of undrafted guys as the depth. The Shaka Haywards, the Swayze Bonesman, who they just got, they just claimed on waivers, I think it was, or signed. Who is the other? Joe Giles Harris. Like a lot of special teamers. Can one of them emerge as a fourth guy? Because to be honest, number 3 right now is Oren Burks, who's also a very good special teamer. You have that covered. So if that's his way on the roster, probably not with this mix. Gentry's going to have to show he can do more and maybe have a role on defense. I feel better about their linebacker depth as safety, not safety, excuse me, as special teams options. But if I have to insert any of them into the lineup, I guess Shaka Hayward, I guess. It's not great. And you even got, wasn't it Jack Dingle? Is that the linebacker? We'll get to him. Wasn't impressed with his tape. First, we can talk about it when we get there. Not much here. It still points to the Bengals going after a free agent linebacker. And maybe it's not Bobby Wagner. Maybe it's just Shaq Thompson or Matt Milano or Bobby Okereke, something like that. Because do you really feel comfortable inserting Oren Burks? At the end of the year, Oren Burks and Demetrius Knight were splitting snaps. If that continues, somebody's going to have to get a lot better or play a lot better this year at the linebacker unit. And I just don't know if they have the depth either. There's not a lot of hope there, not a lot of veteran depth. And you need Demetrius Knight and Barrett Carter to step up. They're saying the right things. I'll be honest, I thought the way Barrett Carter was speaking at OTAs, very encouraging, especially talking about he and Knight's bond. You're going to have that at some point. You're going to have those linebackers feeding off each other mentally, emotionally. It's a tough position, right? And especially when those guys were getting thrown in, it probably created a bond in the fire. We're going to talk about linebacker a lot this year. That's why I wanted to spend a whole episode on Gentry, because it's not just Gentry, it's a whole depth chart. So it's those guys someone has to emerge. And I think that even from number 1 and 2 of Carter and Knight all the way down to linebacker number 5, 6, they don't keep 6. Not on this team, not this roster. 7, practice squad guys. I think Gentry's got a shot. And we got a couple other guys coming up on the next episode of Bengals on the Brain, presented by First Star Logistics, where we're going to see who else has a shot to make this roster. Very intriguing undrafted free agent class for the Bengals. I don't normally feel that way. So I think they did well this year. See you next time. Hoo day.